Good evening. May I have your attention? Good evening, good evening. Everybody in the back, can you hear? Okay. I'm Richard Dotson. I'm president of the Collin County Republican Men's Club. And we have the honor of hosting this event. Need to take care of just a little business. This event is not a political event. We are not raising money for any political campaign. This event is sponsored by friends of JP. As sponsors, this is a social event, and indeed it's here to celebrate the life and adventures of Judge Payton, which are many. That being said, we have a mystery guest here. What is your name?
You don't know me?
What is your name?
Ravi Jain.
What's famous about you?
Well, in case you don't know, first time when JP ran for the JP's office, I was his first supporter.
Can you remember that far back?
Oh, almost 30 years ago.
Let's give Ravi a round of applause. Ravi, you were the first.
And that is not all. Are you the president of CCRMC?
I've already said that.
Well, in that case, you should know John was the first one who introduced me to CCRMC 20 years ago.
Okay, thank you, Ravi. He doesn't know what two sentences are. All right, at this moment, we'll get our program kicked off this evening with many honored guests. And where's the young lady that ramrod this? Kathy Ward, will you please come forward? Give us Kathy a hand.
Thank you so much, Richard. Thank y'all so much for being here. I know people are going to be coming and going throughout the evening. I've seen, sorry JP, we had to pull you down and let you sit down because people would have kept you back there all night. And we've got people who have flown in from other states, other cities to honor you. Before we say our prayer, and I bring up our lovely young lady who's going to pray for us, I'm going to say, I know, just like Richard said, this is not a political event. This is a celebration of service for John's 28 years as a justice of the peace, which is just amazing. What a public servant and a servant's heart that this man has. Yeah, yes, amen. So I'm not going to recognize elected officials or candidates. Talk amongst yourselves. But there is one individual who came here tonight as a surprise for JP, who thinks the world of you, and who is a hero, who sees you yourself as a hero, Congressman Sam Johnson. Okay, so Congressman Johnson's the only fancy person besides John that gets special applause. I knew John would be okay with that. Okay, we are going to go ahead. John's been so sick. First of all, my name's Kathy Ward, and I've known John since his first campaign. I was a high school teacher when he was campaigning. I was a young Republican. When I qualified, there's the president. When I qualified for Young Republicans all those decades ago, and John and I were fast friends from the start, and have been friends. He's been there for my family. My kids have volunteered for him, and now I'm so lucky. It's coming up on 3 years that I get to spend every Monday through Friday co-hosting with this amazing talent. Wait till you see what he's got planned next, folks. So John, I'm so happy to be here and MC this event for you, my friend. Faye Curtis, where are you, gorgeous girl? Come on up. She's going to lead us in a prayer. She's been with John and his, I don't even know how many hours you put into SOS with John, but Faye Curtis will lead us in a prayer. Faye Curtis?
Good evening, everyone. Well, I'm going to try to do this without crying. Before I start a prayer, let me just say this about, and I have to call him Judge because that's what I call him. He's been a dear friend of mine for many years, and when I moved to Texas, I hated it because I'm from New York, and I thought everyone here rode horses. So but he became a part of my family, and it's not often that when you come to another state that you meet someone that you can call family. So I am so honored to be here tonight, and also honored to be a part of the SOS family and all the things that we stand for. I'm sad that it's coming to an end, but the new journey will begin. So thank you, John Payton, for all your years of service. No one could have done it better than you. I think that you have a legacy that will live on, and you got some tough competition and some tough shoes to fill. So everybody out here, if you think you're up for it, then go for it. But what I will say is that, you know, he did it. He did it. And that's why we're here. We're here to recognize him for all his years of service. So with that being said, I want everybody to, whoever you're sitting next to, I want you to just touch somebody's hands. Because I believe that, you know, when you're asked to do something, you do it the way it's supposed to be done. So I want everybody to touch the neighbor that's next to you, because somebody has not been touched today and needs that love and needs to feel that spirit. So if everybody could just bow their heads and be quiet for a second. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I'm just so thankful, Lord, that we are all in fellowship, Lord, here at this barn, Lord. I'm thankful for Judge Payton being a servant, Lord, just honoring you, doing things for the kids and the community, and just stretching forth his hand, Lord. I thank you for just him being born, Lord. I thank you for his father being able to travel and be here and be a part of this wonderful occasion, Lord. And we're just so thankful that everybody came out and traveled from far and near and made it safely, Lord. Right now, as this program kicks off, Lord, I just ask that you would touch JP's spirit, Lord. Let him know and let him feel that love, Lord, because he is your child and you brought him here for a purpose, Lord. And we're thankful for that purpose. And right now, just for everyone else that's here, Lord, I want it to be a great occasion. I want everybody to know that they are loved. If you haven't felt the love walking in that door, you are feeling the love now, because I'm spreading it out to you right now. So I just want everyone to know that God's love is always merciful, Lord. So just reach out and have a good time, and thank you for being here. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right, I do want to say thank you to all of the people. I might have sounded a little bossy sprockets. Literally over the last few weeks and the last month that we've been planning this, we've had so many people who are like, let me tell you why I need to speak. I need to be up here talking. So it was really tough to choose just a handful of people to do presentations and give speeches tonight, because the outpouring of love for JP, for Judge Payton, has been tremendous, and I know he appreciates that. I do want to say Mike McCandless, who is doing this for free tonight. Mike McCandless, thank you. He is videotaping. Yeah, give him a round of applause. Throughout the evening and even after the presentation, go and say thank you to John. Just talk from your heart, because Mike has been gracious enough to say that he is going to take these videos, edit this together, and JP give it to you as a gift after the event. So thank you, Mike, for doing that. So make sure you get over there. Don't be shy. Okay, let's go ahead and give it. Like I said, we had to cut it down, so we weren't here till tomorrow at 8 p.m. We are going to start off with Sarah Bonzer, who is the superintendent, who is doing a fabulous job at Plano Independent School District. She has a presentation for you, Judge. Sarah Bonzer.
Thank you. So I almost always script when I'm going to talk. But when Kathy called and said, Sarah, would you consider saying a few words for Judge Payton? And I said, let me at it. And I didn't need to script, because I have so many unbelievable stories of Judge Payton. And he is not just the judge. He is a member of the Plano ISD family, and he has been for 28 years. And he is beloved as a family member. And I walked into his courtroom the first time in 1995. That was my first truancy court case in Plano ISD.
You were a truant?
I was truant, and he straightened me out. No, I'm just But I was the dean of students at Hendrick Middle School, and I had to take some families to truancy court. And you know, the one thing about Judge Payton is that you would go to court, and you would walk in there, and he loved kids. He loves kids. Yes. He loves families. He loves holding kids and families together. And you have saved more lives and touched more families than anyone I know. And I know a lot of teachers. And what you need to know about John is that he does it for all the right reasons. He does this because he knows that he is called to serve. And he has been a servant for this school district and this community for a long time. And John, what you don't know is when I took my little detour to another district for 7 years, my first job was to establish student and family services. And I had to start truancy court for that district. And I went to the Justice of the Peace and I said, we need to do this. And they said, well, we'll study some other truancy programs. And they said, we know where we're going to go. And I never said it. They said, John Payton, the one in Plano, that's the one we need to model after.
That's right.
And that, my friend, that is a legacy. People who you don't even know the work you have done and have tried to replicate the important things that you do. And so I think that is the hugest form of flattery and honor. And so from the bottom of my heart, thank you. From the 7,000 employees and 54,000 students and families of this community, we can never thank you enough.
Okay, cameras out. Thank you so much, Superintendent Bonser. All right, next we have Dr. Bob Collins, who is the president of the Collin College Board of Trustees and a longtime friend of John's, for a presentation from the college. Dr. Collins, come on up.
It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I wanted to first, I know Carrie's going to be talking here just a little bit, so before I forget it, Carrie, Dr. Mackin said to tell you hello. He's really glad you're here tonight, so hello, Carrie. Let me read a few words here. I'm really speaking on behalf of Dr. Neil Mackin and our Board of Trustees. Judge John Payton graduated magna cum laude in 2002 from Collin College. It's a long time ago, John. 2002. Where he was the national winner of the All-USA Academic Team. Now these are pretty incredible statistics I'm going to give you. This is an incredible accomplishment as thousands of students from across the nation compete for this award. The final selection of the 20 top students each year is made by 2 representatives from 3 organizations, including Phi Theta Kappa, an International Honor Society, the American Association of Community Colleges, ASCC, and USA Today. Judge Payton was a senior at Plano East Senior High when he first filed a run for Justice of the Peace. I remember those days. And we thought this is really unusual. High school kid running for Justice of the Peace. But you're going to hear a more astounding number here in just a second. He was elected and served the citizens of Collin County for 28 years, including helping more than 80,000 children who came through his court. That's a hard number to believe, but I can believe it. 80,000 kids in 28 years. JP, it's my honor to present this Collin College Leadership Award to our distinguished alumnus, Judge John Payton, along with our sincere thanks for your service to Collin County. So thank you, John.
Grab a picture. Congratulations, Judge. Thank you, Dr. Collins. Next, we have the Deputy Mayor Pro Tem for the City of Plano, Angela Minor, and she will be giving a presentation on behalf of the City of Plano. Angela Minor.
Thank you very much. I just want to say that I've known John for quite a few years. I remember when I was involved in PT at Bowman, the programs you had there, and the children, how they were, usually after about 15, 20 minutes, they don't want to pay attention, their mind is somewhere else. They were focused on you and what you were saying, and thank you. Here I have a special recognition from the City of Plano, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to say that your efforts helped create a teen court that has expanded throughout the area, and some people did mention that, and offers community service and a variety of other methods to make restitution as an alternative to jail time. His demand for respect in the court and the message to stay in school, and remember he's talking about that, has helped many teens learn valuable lessons and move on to better lives. The judge's handling of cases involving adolescents has led to many thank you notes and calls from parents and teens who are grateful for his intervention. Judge Payton was elected in 1990 at the age of 18 and was listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's youngest judge, and I think he still holds that title. He also a cast member of, Kathy mentioned that, JP, Kathy, and the crew in the morning. I can just say thank you for your service, and on behalf of the Mayor and the Plano City Council, and right here we have another council member, Rick Smith, where he's over there. So we're just here to say thank you very much for what you've done in our city and our county for our children. Thank you.
All right, now she's taking pictures, but now she's going to be up here giving a presentation. Next, for anybody who's involved in the Republican Party of Collin County, you've known this woman as a tireless worker and just a champion of conservative issues for decades. She's a dear friend of John's, and she happens to be a new staff member for Congressman Van Taylor, and she's here for a special message from Washington, D.C. Denise?
Judge, first of all, let me say thank you so much. I met you when you first ran, and we were both mere children back then. But it was an amazing time, and I have watched you grow, and I have watched you help countless family members and children in our community, and I've never been so proud to call you friend. But what you're waiting for is you've done lots of firsts in your career, and this is another one. This will be the first time Congressman Taylor has entered anything into the official record of the Congress of the United States of America. So I would like you to know what Congressman Taylor submitted to the court and to the Congress today on your behalf. From the House of Representatives, the Honorable Van Taylor, Wednesday, January 23rd, 2019. Madam Speaker, I rise today to recognize Mr. John Edward Payton for his 28 years of dedicated service to Collin County, Texas. As a graduate of Plano East Senior High School in Collin County, Texas, John Payton was first elected to the position of Collin County Justice of the Peace for Precinct 3 in 1990. Payton had the distinction of serving as the youngest ever elected judge in Texas, an accolade recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records. John would go on to earn a magna cum laude honors at Collin College, where he also achieved the recognition for his role in the USA Today Academic All-American Team as a member of Phi Beta Kappa International Honor Society. His many contributions to our community include his mentorship of at-risk children who benefited from his steadfast leadership and compassion. More than 20 years ago, Payton realized the need to assist youth by providing community service opportunities through the creation of the Students on Service Community Service Program. Countless lives have been changed by the opportunities presented for these youths to contribute to their community in meaningful ways, resulting in an impressive 500,000 plus hours of service to the community. Judge Payton would often spend his weekends with students building homes through Habitats for Humanity or teaching local youth how to operate a farm or a greenhouse. John truly built communities in the deepest sense. John Payton's contributions to the community are numerous, earning him an array of awards, recognitions from respected colleagues and organizations throughout Collin County. On a personal level, John marked out his greatest accomplishment as serving as a loving husband to Shay and a proud father to Katrina. Judge John Payton's servant leadership and efforts provide a constant and strong community support structure for our youth and are to be commended. He is particularly to be praised for his unwavering belief that through committed involvement with our youth, we can build the future. It has been an honor to know and work with Mr. John Edward Payton over the years. As Judge Payton begins the next chapter of his life, I ask my colleagues to join me in congratulating him for his selfless service to the youth and the residents of Collin County. Semper Fidelis, Van Taylor.
Thank you, Denise Voss, and please tell Congressman Taylor thank you. All right, we've got a handful of speakers who are going to come up and talk about how John has impacted their life as a peer or as a mentor. And the first person that we're bringing up to speak is former State Representative Jerry Madden. He is also the former Collin County GOP chairman, who was actually chairman when that young man was a younger man, let's just say that. It's your birthday too, so. Who was elected, again, like they've said, as the first 18-year-old youngest judge in the country. So with a few words of gratitude, and I know you and Representative Madden did a lot of work together in Austin. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Jerry Madden.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you all. I can remember that day, it was 1989, when John Payton comes into my office, as I was county chairman at that time of the party, and he has to file for election. 17-year-old kid. Well, what was he besides 17-year-old? Well, first of all, he was energetic, he was enthusiastic, he was interested, he appeared to be dedicated to his community. He looked to me as someone who's been involved with politics. I've been around it several years before he came in, so I don't think I qualify as someone that he mentored. I think maybe he mentored him. But he came in with all of those ideas and was filing against an incumbent from our party who was running at that time. And you say, well, he really had a lot to offer. As I said, he was a really nice young man, really talented, who you had to tell, well, John, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough race. Because, you've got this incumbent you're running against, and, you're a lot younger, and he's got a lot of experience, and he's been in the job for 4 years. So, you're going to have some tough work to do. But I will tell you one of the things, one of his first supporters was my parents. They were his, one of his, well, I don't know about Robbie beat him or not, but they were his first donors for his campaign because they liked what he was saying. And we were there to encourage youth getting involved in the political process in our party. And we hear people now talking, we've got to have more youth and we got to bring more youth in. Well, we did it that day when John Payton walked in at 17 and we said, we've got a young guy who's running. In fact, he's younger than anybody else who's ever run. And so he went in and you know what? He walked, he beat on doors, he shook hands, he did all the things that you're supposed to do as a candidate. And on election night, he won. What, about 52%, 53%? 52%, 52.48. But he wasn't done. Because there are some people who said, well, that we don't really want this 17-year-old, 18-year-old there. We want the old incumbent back in, so they started a write-in candidacy also. Which at that stage, as county chairman, I said, no, I have a job. My party is whoever my people have elected. He's my candidate. And I was at that stage supporting John and giving him every bit of advice at this stage, a lot older gentleman than John was at the time, would be able to give him in helping him run his campaign. And guess what? Write-in candidacy, you just don't win. And that write-in candidacy failed miserably. John got what, 75, 80% of the vote, something like that, on election night. All of the other candidates managed to do was keep us working long hours, counting that night. Keeping it so the suspense was longer because we couldn't put the results out because we were counting all those absentee votes. But that was my first introduction to John, not my last working with John. Because a few years later, I ran for the legislature, and somewhere along the line, about 15 years ago, the Speaker appointed me as chairman of the Corrections Committee. Well, at that time, the Corrections Committee consisted both of the adult corrections facilities, all the prisons in Texas, and it also included all the juvenile justice facilities in our state. So I went looking for, well, who knows stuff about juvenile justice? Because I'll tell you, they're different. It's a lot different. Juvenile law is a lot different than adult corrections and adult criminal justice systems. We try to rehabilitate youth. We really do. And so I said, well, we've got an expert in my community, and that's John. So I sat down with him, and I will tell you, I learned more about juvenile justice things, programs, ideas, etc., that we pass through in the next years, but particularly the next year or two. He told me one thing about juveniles that I've never forgotten. He had said, you know, you always think of them as these little kids. But he showed me one of his juveniles that was about, what, 6'6", 6'8", 340 pounds, and was doing stuff because mother had him do it. I learned more that day about what happens in the juvenile system and why it happens than I think any other time in dealing with all of the other people that I did statewide and doing the changes that we did in the juvenile system at that time to totally renovate and totally change the juvenile structures in the state of Texas. And it was in part due, not totally, but in part due to the work of John Payton. I was proud to be working with him. I'm proud to have known him, proud to have been seeing all things because, you know, I saw him and knew him before he had all of these remarkable things that he'd done, but I'd also got the chance to work with him while he was doing them and seeing the results. And guys, he's one of the greatest assets this county has ever had. And I hope and pray that we will continue to use those assets as we go forward for the next several decades in using them here in Collin County. I want to thank you, John, for everything that you've done. I want to thank you for your friendship. I want to thank you for your hard work.
Thank you, the Honorable Jerry Madden. Now for something I can't call him honorable, but I sure can call him fun. This is one of, oh, Justin. And you're like, wait. Justin is a student who John mentored, and he's going to talk about this. Justin has turned out to be a hugely successful lawyer in San Antonio, has come all the way here to be with John today. And boy, when you talk about mentoring somebody and hitting a home run, that's Justin Nichols. Come on up, Justin.
You know, if there has ever been a better introduction, it is, I can't call him honorable. Truly, that was very warm, and I love it. I need a minute after that. I met John Payton the day after 9/11, the 9/11, and I was doing some paper for school, and he espoused his views then, and it was textbook and good and inspirational. But what John did was he invited me into a process, into a part of this community that I had not known before. He invited me into politics, but not politics, but civil service. He taught me that politics is not just standing up, espousing views. The real work is when you're hammering more signs than I ever thought I would hammer into the ground for more people, at least two of them, the Honorable Sam Johnson and Jerry Madden, of which are here. But I was inspired by John. But I was just one of those kids still that had an interest, wanted to get involved. But as verbose as you have become back then, and it's been a while, he inspired me with 3 little words. 3 words, and I know my sister knows. She's worked for the county longer than I did almost, so that's really something special. Figure it out. I look back and I'm thinking, well, was he just being lazy and telling me to figure it out and to see how it turned out? But I don't think he was. As Representative Madden mentioned, John believed that youth, that young people have a power far beyond what most people believe, have an energy that can do amazing things beyond what most people imagine. He's challenged many of his truants, many of his interns, and he challenged me to do just that. When I decided at 18, and thank God it didn't work out, that I thought I knew better than the president of the school board to run for office, he said, figure it out. When I said, hey John, this Teen Corps program that you've got is going, let's bring it countywide. He said, great, go home and figure it out. Put together a proposal. But he called me, and he has called many students in many different capacities, whether they're sitting next to him on the bench or whether they're standing before him in his courtroom, to be the best that they can be. And I don't know where I transitioned from an idler or an intern or a mentoree to a friend, but somewhere along the line it happened. And John has been a good friend. He has exhibited those values as a friend that he has to the community. 90% is showing up, being there. And I walked into this room, and I'll be honest, and you're gonna kill me for saying this, but I thought, I hadn't seen some of these people in 10 years, and there's a few of them that if I didn't see for 10 years again, then I wouldn't know. But let's be honest, I know you're gonna hate that, but I just couldn't stop. I couldn't stop! In any event, but I look around the room and there's so many people that because of John, and the opportunities that he gave, where he tagged me along, where he brought me along, and believed in me and so many others in the community. From Dixie Clem, whose award I received 12 years ago, he was there and handing me the award. From working for Congressman Johnson, to getting to know Judge Rush, who is here, who convinced me to get off my butt and go become an attorney, to Denise Mitchley, who is always willing to make you hammer in the sign. Always. Always. I'm kind of glad I don't live in Collin County anymore. I have so many calluses. But what John did was he challenged me to do what others thought I could not. And he has challenged so many others to do what others, whether it be sometimes schools, sometimes parents, thought that people could not. He said, no, there's potential. There is something special about each and every kid. I'm one of those kids. And many of the successes, many of the friendships, many of the relationships that I have, even with Kathy, who, by the way, I can call honorable, but we have had a lot of fun at state conventions, I'll tell you that. He called me to be more than I knew I could. And I mean that. And John, had it not been for you, I would not be standing here today and be who I am. And there's a lot of kids who aren't going to get up here tonight and say that. But there's a lot of kids who believe and know it in their hearts. More than me, more than the number of people in this room. Countless kids. And I thank you. So you're retired. That's cool. I mean, one of the benefits of running for office at 18 is you can retire at a ridiculously early age and still get a pension, which is absurd. However, you do get to do something special. You've heard Representative Madden, you've heard from the superintendent, you've heard from the deputy mayor pro tem, you've heard from all these people who are excited to see what you're going to do next. And I don't think that there's any doubt in this room that you have the ability and the potential, and now I get to be that person, to continue to affect people beyond what you know. So, after all these years, it is my honor and my privilege to tell you on behalf of all of those here, we can't wait to see you figure it out.
Oh, that's just fantastic. We were very honored. Richard Dotson helped get somebody who John has looked up to as a mentor and tremendously respects to come in all the way from Illinois. Dr. Carrie Israel, who everybody here knows, who's a former president of Collin College and has led so many young people to so many great things. I know you don't want...
Thank you very much. It's all about John, not about me. Good to see all of you here. It's fantastic to see all of you, seriously. I miss you. You're all great people. God bless all of you here. It's really wonderful to be here. Now, it's your birthday today. And there's hundreds of people here, and I've never seen 100 people sing happy birthday. So let's sing happy birthday. Happy birthday. Come on. To you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you. Okay, that's great. Okay. Don't light any candles, Rutledge will get crazy. Okay. So, as you heard, I'm presently living in Illinois. Anyway, so it's a long story, please. I go to Illinois. What's the first thing that happened in Illinois? I have a stroke. No kidding, I'm in Illinois. I rented a car at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport because I had to rent a car. And I was driving out of the airport with a friend, and I needed to get over to the right lane to get to the Bush Tollway. So as I put on my blinker, I actually put on my blinker, and I was moving toward the right. This guy next to me was going like this. And so I said to the person in the car with me, oh, look at that guy. He's giving me the finger. And I got really angry. And then my friend in the car says, no, he's nicely motioning you to go ahead. See, I'm in Texas. I'm not in Chicago. So it's good to really be back here. That's a true story, I'm telling you. So, yeah, that was on the Dan Ryan Expressway. That's how they wave to you. Anyway. So, it's good to see, I talked to him, it's good to see Dr. Collins. Dr. Collins hired me. Most importantly, he kept me for 16 years. So, that's what I'm grateful for. A wonderful, great man. And Sam Johnson kept me on the path of righteousness. He did. He did. He's my guy. Very helpful coming to my office, and Fred Moses is a part of my family, and he knows it. I just became a grandfather. He knows it. I'm amazing. Maisie, you're with us. Okay. So thank you for giving me this honor to talk about John. I know all of you know a great deal about John, and why we're celebrating, but what I like the most about John is his vision. And a lot of people don't have vision. He saw things way ahead of time. Doesn't matter his age. He kept seeing things well before other human beings. And he'll continue to do that. He has that gift. He has that gift of vision, the gift of leadership, and I think he's rather amazing. He started a community service program in 1998, listen to this, for at-risk youth that provides support to elderly citizens. To get rid of all this graffiti on the streets and the bridges. That's why we're a great county. He created and maintained food banks, at least 10 of them in 2005 and onward, that fed over 2,500 families. And food insecurity is still an issue today. But imagine if he didn't do this, where food insecurity would be. He's a charter member of the Saxe Wiley Murphy Kiwanis Club. He's the founder, as you heard tonight, of Teen Court 20 years ago. Listen to the vision 20 years ago. No wonder people look at him and look at what this county and the community does. He created a youth leadership program 15 years ago that states are just doing right now. But he's involved. I was involved in Rotary. I thought it was really great. He's been involved with American Legion, Rotary, JC's, Lions Club, Youth Mentor Network, Allen Sports Association, Plano Christmas Cops Program, Carter Blood Drive. I saw George up in there. City House. And he asked me for blood. I gave enough blood already. So I could go on and on. I mean, listen to all the things he's done. And he was the JP. Now, I thought I was busy as the president. I was busy. It's amazing what you have to do. But it's more amazing what he did. Now, you got to be grateful for this. I'm grateful for it. So Dr. Collins gave a wonderful award from the college. He was magna cum laude. I had to talk about that because I've been very active with Phi Theta Kappa for 25 years. He beat out 52,000 students just at Collin College. We picked 3 out of 52,000. Then in the country, there's 1,200 community colleges. So we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of thousands of students to be academic All-Americans. I mean, this is just amazing. So here's him academically, here's his vision up here. Again, what I really, though, admire is his values. And today in our country, we're missing some values. He can be tough, and he is tough, but he understands there needs to be some compassion. He holds people accountable. Isn't that refreshing? Holding people accountable. And he requires them to be respectful. Isn't that refreshing? He certainly leads by example, and he continues to forge ahead helping others, constantly. So in honor of you, John, for all that you have done, but for me too, I am personally, out of my own funds, creating the John Payton Scholarship at Collin College tonight. So thank you for being one of my heroes. God bless all of you, and we look forward to that student getting the John Payton Scholarship.
Judge Payton, the legacy lives on. Yeah, let's give Dr. Israel and Judge John Payton a round of applause. Before I bring up our final speaker, who is going to introduce our guest of honor, there's a lot of thank yous I've got to give out. First of all, to our generous donors. We've had so many people donate to this event so it could be free of charge, because again, in keeping with John's theme in life, if there's somebody who he's helped who doesn't feel like they can afford to come to an event like this, he wants to make sure it was free. So as a result of that, we just really, really do appreciate our donors, and I know John will be getting in touch with each of you individually. So let's give those folks like David McCall a round of applause. Thank you to the Collin County Republican Men's Club for hosting this event so we could have a fun night where we're partying like rock stars and we don't have to worry about being political. So thank you, and especially thank you, and please stand up to Mr. Richard Dodson. Huge help. Stand up and wave. He's been instrumental in so many great parts of this event, so thank you so much to you, Richard Dodson. Okay, Mike McCandless, who will be on, he'd be here all night. He's doing this video, and so please, even if you just say, a minute worth of something to John, leave John a message, because this is going to be something that John keeps with him for the rest of his life. So you know how much you mean to people and how many lives you've touched. I also want to thank Denise Voss. Where's Denise? Denise, thank you so much. She always steps in and makes sure everything's taken care of. She actually did the slideshow tonight as well. So thank you, Denise Voss. Yeah, give her a round of applause. That's okay. Faye Curtis, thank you for being on the planning committee and being part of this event and praying for us. That's so important, and that's a big important thing in JP's life. So thank you for that. Round of applause to her. Deanna Kirkendall, who has been a longtime friend of John's, who got our special guest, Congressman Johnson, here tonight. Thank you, Deanna, for being part of this. And wait till you see the cake she has for us after the event. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. Lori and Ken Roberts, where are you guys? Y'all stand up. Okay, if anybody enjoyed water, beer, or wine, they donated that tonight. I know y'all have been longtime friends to Judge Payton, so thank you. I know he appreciates y'all. Bob Tillman, he's over on the camera, and Bob has Special Webs as his business. He volunteered his time here tonight to help videotape and take pictures, so thank you, Bob. And when you see Rutledge Haggard, tell him thank you. He donated the party barn to us tonight for this event because he believes in John that much. And Joel Martinez, I know he's behind the bar. Don't forget to tip your waiter or your bartender. And thank you, Joel, for being such a huge help with this event as well. But yes, give him applause. He's the one serving you drinks. Okay, there are so many wonderful things I could say about John. And I think the most important thing I could say to you before I turn it over to somebody who's known you longer than me and knows you better than me is, out of all the things I've done with you over the years, campaigns, all kinds of stuff, the radio show, I am most blessed to call you friend, and I'm very honored to be your friend, Judge Payton. There's somebody here that knows you better, who's known you longer, and he wants to give a few words out there. Oh, I know. Be scared, because it's your dad, Stan Payton, with Cleo the Pug. Come on up, Stan. He's going to introduce John, so John can give y'all a few words of wisdom. And Stan Payton, John's dad, came in all the way from Arizona to be able to talk about his son tonight. So ladies and gentlemen, Stan Payton.
Thank you very much. As John's father, I think I do have the distinction of knowing him longer than anyone else here. But beyond that, I know a lot of history he wouldn't necessarily want people to know. In his youth, he probably experienced some of these things that, well, a lot of these things, that he had to help the juveniles he was helping with. And as a result, he knew the right speeches that my wife and I had given him. In fact, at one point, he said he numbered all of my wife's speeches. And when he went to court, he then just basically repeated what my wife had told him at different times. And many of those things were not necessarily negative, because John was generally a good kid and did have a lot of vision. And some of that vision got him in trouble for doing things he probably shouldn't have done. But mostly because it wasn't something he was authorized to do, not necessarily something that was bad to do. So in many ways, John has become an image of his mother. And in many ways, and his mother just passed away last year, so that's probably going to make him cry, and I shouldn't have said it. But, it's true. John is like a mini Lori, which was his mother's name. And in many ways, the things that he did were just things that my wife and I had taught him. Believe in yourself. If you can't do something, figure out how to do it. Figure it out. That's the important key feature you've got to learn. And we taught him things like every little boy can be president. Anybody ever see that movie with that little song? The only difference is we tried to make John believe it. Because if you don't believe it, you can't do it. And that's critical. It really is. And as a result, John has done an exceptional job. And as you can probably tell, I'm extremely proud of him and his successes and all of the things that he's been able to do. And as a result, in his adulthood, he has been as much a friend and helper to me, especially after my wife passed, but he is, in my opinion, an amazing, still kind of young, and I don't understand it. Here he is, 47 and retiring. I've worked for 34 years for the federal government, and currently I'm on furlough, and even though I'm eligible, I'm not retiring yet. So I'm not sure I totally understand this, although I did take up comedy now in the last year, and it's kind of fun. And to show how supportive John is to family, friends, and people who just need help. Because we taught him when he was young, if you see something you can do to help someone else you see needing help, then by God, do it. Because that's what you're supposed to do, is help the rest of the world. And if you're not helping the rest of the world, you're not helping yourself. You've got to help everyone along the way. I'm also an ordained minister, so I'd go on forever. Because I'm talking about a subject I firmly believe in, which is my son, Judge Payton.
Now pull it together, right? Right? So when you're ready to go home, I pull it together, John, kind of pull it together. First of all, I want to, this will help me settle in, right? If I can have the people that did make this happen. Kathy Ward, stand. Deanna, stand. Richard, stand. Faye, stand. Like, this is a court order. Get it. This is like my last thing. Denise, stand. Mike, you better be standing. There he is. Mike, stand. Bill or Bob, where are you? Bob is standing. These are the folks that helped make all of this happen and come together tonight, and we did it in about 5 weeks. People came to me 8 months ago and said, you need to have a retirement party, a celebration of service. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to quietly go on out. I've done my part. I've done what I'm supposed to do, and I don't need all of that. And they're like, no, you need to let others tell you how much they appreciate you. And so we pulled this together in 5 weeks, and they did an amazing job. Please give all of these people a big round of applause. So, some of you may be asking, John, why Wednesday night in the middle of a week are we doing this? Why your birthday at the same time as celebration of your service? So, a year ago, was the last time my mother sang happy birthday to me. It was the last piece of cake that she ate. And then she went into a state where she didn't come back. But that was the last thing that she did. And so I thought, you know, what better way to get my mind off of it? Let's have a big party and invite a few people. Because my mother, I was in the middle of running for state representative. And my mother looked at me and she said, why are you here? And I said, you gotta be kidding me, right? The doctors just came in and said that you're in full renal failure, all your organs are quitting. What do you mean, why am I here? She goes, you've got a race to run. She goes, I built you to be out there and serve the public. Why are you still here? And I said, because you're the reason that I serve the public. Because you taught me the importance of being a public servant, not a politician. And I'm not leaving your bedside. So, too bad. You don't get to tell me what to do this time. Which, by the way, was the only time in my life I got to say that to my mother. Just to let you know. And that is a true statement. You know, the beginning of this really goes back to my dad. And I'm going to take those of you who were with me at 17, 18, just on a quick history lesson. I was up packing to move to Texas. My dad was transferring from Washington, D.C., and I was up in the attic, and I'm going through some things, and I find these blue flyers. And there's this handsome guy on the front, and it's my dad. And he looked like he was about 18 years of age. And he had ran for the clerk's position in the city of Clovis. And I went downstairs and I said, what's this? He says, well, when I was 18, I ran for the clerk's position in the city of Clovis. And I said, did you win? And he goes, no, but I only lost by a handful of votes to a person who had been there forever. That was the spark. That was the, hey, you know what? He didn't just tell me to believe that I could do anything, that nobody had the power to limit my ability, because he did it when he was 18. He lost, but he didn't lose anything. He won because he gained all of that experience, and he won because he wasn't afraid to step out and face the criticism, face the support, face the music of public office at 18 years of age, which doesn't happen very often. So that was the spark. We moved to Texas. I go to Plano East Senior High School, and I loved running for office, by the way. When I was running for, this is a sidebar for Sarah, in PISD. I'm walking door to door, well, thank you for going to Plano Senior High. No, it's Plano East. No, it is Plano Senior High. We appreciate you. If you want to believe that, so be it. I've corrected you. You told me I'm wrong. I'm fine. Can I put a sign in your yard? Any wildcat can put a sign in my yard. I'm a Panther. Okay. So I go to Plano East. I take a class, and I want to thank Dr. Hendrick and the curriculum directors and the school board for having the vision for putting together major study programs for kids. If I can pass anything on to our leaders, major study programs work. They're effective. I know they take away from the curriculum that may be required by the state, but teacher major studies, child care major studies, law major studies. These are valuable programs. Without that program, I wouldn't be standing here today with Adam Fogel, who was a student of mine sitting up there, who, holy mackerel, I mean, challenged every bit of wit I had, but love him. Cody Hayes is out there. Again, without that vision of law major studies, would not have ever been able to touch those students' lives. I learned that it takes to be a justice of the peace. You have to just be 18 years of age, registered voter, and live in that precinct for 6 months and the county for 6 months. Here's the dynamic part. When I was going door to door, I would have people tell me, I remember when you were in diapers. And I'm like, that's not possible because I was in Fresno, California. So unless you were flying in and out and my dad didn't know that my mother had visitors, you didn't know me in diapers. And so, because I lived here, we moved here in '89, I lived here for just 11 months when I decided to run for justice of the peace, because you only had to be 18.
So I go down to Republican headquarters. I find out you can register to vote, by the way, at 17 and a half years of age, as long as you turn 18 by that election cycle. Well, there you go. I register to vote. I grab the petition to go have signatures signed, and I go door to door. That was one of the worst ice storms we ever had. It was like God was saying, do you really want to do this? If you do, we're going to find out here's 9 inches of ice. Try walking door to door in dress shoes with 9 inches of ice. They stayed on the ground for 2-3 weeks. So I went to soccer cleats and walked door to door, knocking on doors, trying to get my petition signed. When I went to my mom and I told her, I want to run for justice of the peace. My mother, you would think, John, God bless you, good, I'm with you. My mother says, I won't vote for you. She goes, I'm not supporting you. Not quite the reaction I was hoping for. So I went to my dad. He's like, absolutely, you can do this. Absolutely. So it came crunch time, and I didn't have enough signatures. I'd fallen short. And so I went home, and I'd walk door to door all the way up until it was time to file. And my mom said, how many signatures did you get? And I was highly active in high school, and I quit everything to do this. And I said, I'm short 150 signatures. We didn't have a lot of money. My mom said, here's the $300. Go down and sign up to run for office. I've read what the description is. You can do this. I know that you will be great at this. And there it began. My mom drove me all over Plano, Allen, Parker, Murphy, Lucas, Richardson, walking door to door until we walked holes in 8 pairs of shoes. And the Associated Press took pictures of it. After we won and said, young team wins with soul power. And so there it began, this journey with, I can't tell you, all these wonderful people that have helped me be able to be in a position to achieve the things that I have achieved. Because it hasn't been me achieving them, it's been us achieving them the whole time. You know, it's people like Angela Miner and Pat Miner open their home for me so we can spread the word to 50 of their best friends. You know, it's people like the Fogels who don't even live in the precinct, but they come walking door to door to spread the message. It's people like Jody Lyons who has back surgery and can barely walk, and she's out walking door to door to spread the message. And it just goes on and on. People that sacrificed sometimes their own health to make sure that that message got out there. It's Ravi Jain and Kumkum Jain that opened up their home for the first coffee I ever had. And we had 2 people show up. It wasn't disappointing. I was excited we had 2 people show up. I was like, woohoo, 2 people, I'm 18, 2 people showed up. I get to talk. And so it's all of those times. And there are so many people in here that have made that happen. I mean, I could be up here thanking people for hours because of where we're at and what we've been able to do. And so I cannot say and express to you, thank you enough for opening up your hearts and letting me in so that you would be willing to make sure the community had the best. Because I always challenged myself to give you and everybody around me the best I had, because that was my mother's challenge to me. And so I am appreciative of that. Tonight it was extremely important, especially with my mother's absence from here. I know she's with me, but her physical presence, that my dad be here and that Joan Gura be here. She's sitting down next to me. Joan Gura walked into my office, and Sid Adams, who was my first court coordinator, Jerry's half-brother, knew John. I was just 18. Sid comes into my office and he says, I just want to let you know Joan Gura's here. And I go, what do you mean? Oh, you don't want to know. But she wants to talk to you. And I said, am I in trouble? Probably. You are probably in trouble. I said, why? Oh, she's got a bag. She's got one of those binder things with dates in it. And she wants to talk to you. She goes, he goes, did you call her? I go, no, I didn't call her. So Sid shows her back. She sits down and she goes, hi, my name is Joan Gura. I'm a Plano ISD. I said, okay. Joan says, now, I've got this truancy program and nobody will take it seriously. And I need your help. And kids need your help. I'm not here to push any buttons. I'm not here to dance around anything. Are you going to help me or not? And it was that direct of a conversation, our first conversation, 28 years ago. And Joan, I looked at her and I said, well, yeah, if that's something I do, let's do this. I'm excited. Let's do this. She goes, here's the deal, though. She goes, you realize you're only 18. I said, yes. She goes, you realize that the girls are going to come before you are 17 and 18, right? And I said, yes. You can't date them. She says, you know this, right? Yes, ma'am. She goes, you know you can't go soft on them either, right? Yes, ma'am. I know that. She goes, all right, I'll be back. And boy, was she back. And that's how it began. Court order, community resource list, that's where it all started. We would not have the truancy program that we have had in Collin County if it wasn't for Joan Gura. And that's the truth. Give her a big hand. She created it, I took it, and I ran with it. And I didn't stop running. And she and I worked together, and we worked long hours, into the night, helping kid after kid after kid. Never giving up. Joan held me accountable. My mother held me accountable, and so I held everybody else accountable. I'm like, if I'm getting held accountable, so are you. So pay attention. And so, without Joan Gura, there's no students on service. There is no Justin Nichols getting to lead things like teen court. Come to me as an extremely young man in his early 20s and say, we need to make this county-wide. I said, go write the proposal, figure it out. He did, we came back, I went up, I presented it to Commissioner's Court, and it got adopted. Phyllis Cole was part of that had that vision. Where's Phyllis? Phyllis helped vote that in to Collin County. And Justin was the first teen court coordinator for Collin County and led the program well. And the program flourishes today, countywide. One of the only countywide programs in the state of Texas that started in the little old office of JP 32 in 1991. And so it's other people that share the vision of wanting to help people that gets us where we're at today in helping 90, and we counted this up, it's amazing, over 98,000 kids and families. You wonder, how did you hear that many cases? Man, we just did it. We would start at 7 in the morning, and sometimes we wouldn't get home till 11, 12 o'clock at night. And I can tell you, you've probably heard parents complain, we have to sit in the waiting room and wait for hours. And then I love the response, well, you shouldn't have had your kid out of school to begin with. If you'd have paid attention, you wouldn't have been in this court. So quit complaining. You don't like it? Make your kid go to school. You know, so that's how it all came about. And so I just cannot thank all of you enough for all of the years of putting signs out, hammering T-posts in the ice, the snow, the rain, for your support, your dedication, giving up your free time, your family, giving up your money, because it's not cheap to run campaigns. We were one of the first JP candidates to ever raise $65,000, and that was in campaign number 5. We raised over $65,000 for that campaign, and we won 89.11% of the vote. That's the dedication of volunteers and friendship. And here's the thing. I mean, all of you, I consider my friend. Mark Freeland is my friend. He's not my compadre in politics. He's my friend. Sam Johnson was my friend. I remember going to Boyd State and going down to his office to harass him, and him's like, John, you go do it. You do this. Because Boyd State inspired me. It's a veteran-led program for young people to get involved and learn by doing. And so it's that inspiration that continued to boil and build to give us what we have. So people have asked me, what's next? Golf? Margaritas? No, I'm just kidding. I don't drink. So we're good. I decided that God sent me a message. He said, hey, you know what? You got things you need to do. Your program, you've got it down. You've kind of figured it out. I finally got you there. He said, now it's time to teach it to everybody. So we have started a consulting firm called Payton, Nix, Lyons and Associates. We were immediately hit up, and we have committed to an embedded merger, more or less, with Project Education. And we are going to go out into this country, not just in Texas, and we are going to teach schools how to do what I have done in the courtroom for 28 years, how they can do it in their campuses, and how they can help these kids that are struggling to find their why. Kids don't come out of the womb screaming, I can't wait to fail. They want to succeed. They want to be happy. And we have gotten to a point where we forget Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Kids want three things: safety, security, and they want to know where they're going to put their head down at night. And if you can start off there and give them that, then by golly, we can make every one of them the President of the United States. Because when they feel that, they feel love. We have looked at the numbers across the board. Arizona, in trouble. Michigan, in trouble. New Jersey, badly in trouble. Florida, way badly in trouble. Texas, on the brink of being badly in trouble. When we break down the numbers, there is no school district in this state that has a number less than 22% of at-risk youth of their population in secondary, and as high as 41% of their population is at risk. It's a whole new culture, and we want to teach the culture of talking to at-risk kids and teaching teachers, principals, counselors how to talk to an at-risk kid. Life has changed dramatically. Social media has conquered the silence of intelligence. It's just massive ignorance sometimes with adolescents playing on social media. And it's creating a whole new characteristic of life out there. We're going to teach students on service and how schools can utilize that on their campuses. We're going to teach how a school district can hold their own truancy tribunal, make it formal, make it official, to get kids to pay attention and parents to pay attention. Every form we've ever used, and I can tell you there are teachers here that have had to sign a lot of forms, Mrs. Newkrantz. Boy, she's had to sign a lot of forms. Woo. Works at Williams High School, math teacher. Sarah Bonser knows her. She was a principal at Williams High School. And daily progress reports, tutorial logs, signing in, trying to track kids so that everybody knew where they were at and what they were doing. We have digitized that. We have created accountability where parent, teacher, student, administrator, counselor cannot hide anymore. We in real time can report to a parent, administrator, counselor, principal in real time an instant absence, instant issue or breakdown that may cause an at-risk behavior in real time and hold them accountable. And that's what our vision is. That's my next step. We are going to go out and we're going to teach schools who have suffered and not had a justice of the peace that would pour in 18 hours in a day and give his life on a Saturday for 20 plus years, sometimes 40 weeks out of the year, to help kids get community service and get it done and do it the right way, not pick up trash on the road. You know, I've got a saying, birds of a feather, what do? Flock together. At-risk kids, they skip class, they're smoking weed, they're in your garage stealing something, they're having sex, getting pregnant, or they're at your house eating all your food, playing video games. If you take those same at-risk kids and you put them in an environment where they're doing something positive and they're doing something positive together, you can change their mindset. At the SOS program sites, farm, teaching kids how to go from the ground to the table, teaching kids how to build a house and help others. Our success rate in graduation, 99.2%. And we've got the data for that. Our success rate amongst 98,000 students, 98.8% with the program. And even more effective by digitizing it. Because we can hold them accountable and we know where the holes are so we can fill those holes. By the way, before I forget, because I've gotten much older today, I want Lonnie Simmons to stand up. Where is he? He's quiet, doesn't like to talk, and does not like attention. So everybody try and look at him. Don't sit down. It's his fault that we do students on service. He came to me 20 plus years ago and said, Judge Payton, let's do something with Keep Allen Beautiful, and let's do something with the kids and do something in the community. All those bridges that got painted over from graffiti, all of the cleanups, all of the elderly citizens that we helped. And I'm going to tell Lonnie a story. I'm going to tell a story that Lonnie and I experienced together. But there was a woman in old downtown Allen in a little blue, what looked like a trailer converted to a little house. And she laid in her bed by the window, very small. Kitchen, bedroom, front room, all one room. The bathroom was the only thing that had a door besides the front door. And she sat in that bed, and we were told by her nurse that she doesn't talk, she doesn't do anything. She just lays there. We had like 60 kids out. We had to fix a ramp, and I think we painted her little house, didn't we? And cleaned the brush. She hadn't talked in like 3 years. Family didn't come see her. She opened up the window on her own and started talking to the kids as they were doing work. Those kids' lives were changed that day, just as much as we changed that lady's life by helping her out. That's what's empowering a kid, is showing them what their power really can do. Picking up trash isn't valuing a kid's power. Having them build a ramp for an elderly person, having them put sheetrock up in a house, having them grow something themselves, and donating it to a food pantry, that's valuing a kid's life. And that's all because of you that I have had the opportunity to be able to do this for 28 years. I've loved what I've done, every day of it. And the one part I miss, I don't miss evictions. Nope, you can have them. Don't miss civil cases. You can have them. Don't like them at all. Don't miss traffic tickets. Think it's taxation without representation anyways. Not a fan. Not a fan of hot checks. Keep those too. I do miss working with the kids. I love helping kids and families, and I get phone calls daily. We need help. Can you help us? Can you give us some advice? And so thank you for the 28 years, and God bless you. Please be safe tonight going home, and be looking for Payton Nix Lines and Project Education to start popping up at your schools to help your schools, help your kids get on the right track before they ever have to go to court. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. God bless all of you. Thank you.